I never thought a harmless joke could expose everything wrong in my marriage so brutally fast. I am Callum 41, married to Freya for 11 years. When we met, she loved that I was steady, grounded, predictable. I loved that she was sharp, witty, confident. We built a quiet life, careers, routines, dinners on the couch, weekends with friends. Nothing explosive but solid, or so I believed, until one careless sentence changed the air between us forever and revealed how fragile our connection really was. Beneath the calm surface, I trusted too easily and assumed comfort meant safety. Always. It happened at a small dinner party hosted by friends of hers I barely knew. Wine flowed, conversation drifted, and someone mentioned a mutual acquaintance. Charming, successful, effortlessly confident. Without thinking, I laughed and said something stupid like, well, if Freya ever gets bored, she could trade me in for him. I smiled, expecting an eye roll, maybe a playful jab back. Everyone laughed except her. Freya went quiet to quiet. Her smile froze, not amused, not angry, just flat. The moment passed, but something shifted. I felt it, then a subtle drop in temperature, a warning. I ignored, telling the drive home. I tried to joke about it again, said I was kidding. She stared out the window and said nothing. Silence has weight when you share a car with someone you love. I told myself she was tired, maybe embarrassed. Still, a knot formed in my chest. At home, she went straight to bed. No good night, no comment. I lay awake replaying my words, wondering why they landed wrong. It was just humor. That is what people say when they do not want to face intent beneath language. I slept poorly, dreaming of doors closing behind meth. Next morning, Freya acted normal, made coffee, asked about my meetings. That scared me more than anger. Normal can be distance disguised as peace. Days passed, and I noticed small things. She stopped reaching for my hand, stopped telling me details about her day. I apologized. Once lightly, she shrugged and said, drop it, but you cannot drop something that keeps echoing. I started questioning myself. Why joke like that? Why imply replacement? Humor often hides truth or fear. I had made myself disposable with my own mouth, and she had heard it clearly, maybe too clearly to forget. A week later, she finally spoke. We were cleaning up dinner plates, stacked, water running. She said calmly, you sounded like you were advertising me. The words were soft but sharp. I laughed nervously, said, come on, it was a joke. She turned off the tap, looked at me, and said, jokes come from somewhere, Callum. That was the first time she used my name. Like the distant formal, she told me. It made her wonder if I still valued her or if I was testing the idea of being without her. I had no answer that felt convincing enough. After that conversation, something hardened in her. She stopped initiating anything. Affection became polite, transactional, a kiss before work, a nod at night. I tried harder. Compliments, dates, apologies. She accepted them without warmth. One evening, she said quietly, I do not feel safe with you. The word safe landed heavier than any accusation. I realized my joke had not been funny. It told her I did not guard her heart seriously. That night, she slept on the far edge of the bed like someone planning an exit. I stared at the ceiling, feeling the cost of being careless. Once people think betrayal requires secrecy, touch evidence, but sometimes it starts with disrespect. Framed as humor, I had mocked the bond publicly, and she withdrew privately. Friends noticed tension. I minimized it, saying we were fine. We were not. Fine is what you say when you hope silence will fix damage. Freya began spending more time away, staying late, texting less. When I asked, she said she needed space. After 11 years felt like eviction. I wondered if she imagined leaving because of my words or if they merely gave voice to doubts already growing inside her. Long before night, she told me she had booked a weekend alone. To think I nodded, said okay, like someone conceding a game I could not win. When she left, the apartment felt hollow. I walked through rooms, noticing traces of her absence, a mug, lipstick on the rim, a scarf on a chair. I understood consequences. My flirty joke had told her I did not fear losing her, and when someone feels replaceable, they begin preparing to be replaced. She returned quieter, colder, said she needed time apart. That was not a threat. It was a decision forming without me. I am telling this because people think cheating begins with bodies. It often begins with language, with jokes that test value, with laughter that masks insecurity. I did not sleep with anyone. I did not message anyone. But I cracked something sacred by implying my marriage was flexible, optional, replaceable. That fracture changed how she saw me. Respect once bent does not always return. I learned it late. That trust needs protection, not irony. If you play with the idea of loss, do not be surprised when someone prepares to let go. I am living with that lesson now. I do not know where Freya and I will end up. Separation. Maybe counseling, maybe goodbye. What I know is this one flirty joke showed her I did not take her security seriously, and once a woman questions whether she is cherished, she stops risking herself for you. If you think humor will soften disrespect, think again. Words reveal priorities, even accidental ones. I lost ground that night and have been trying to stand upright since. Some laughs cost more than tears. Mine cost me certainty, trust, and the future I assumed was guaranteed forever without effort or caution again.